Good evening. Welcome to a special edition of the Fantasy Trail. This is Matt.
Monday special JT here.
Monday, Thanksgiving early special, Mike Scarano here.
And this
Take it away, Tama.
Season 3, Episode 14. Are you thankful for a win this week? And you know what? We are doing this on a Monday night because of Thanksgiving. We didn't know how many people would be able to partake later in the week.
Including us.
So, we figured we'd watch. We were kind of watching live the Rams versus the Chiefs. And so matchups aren't decided. But I think there are some people very thankful for a win this week.
I would also say this is one of the better games of the year, especially for
absolutely. 2 9-1 teams going up against each other without the greatest home field advantage, but I think they're getting a better one as of late.
Fascinating game and really impactful fantasy-wise too. I mean, we have, I would say, 3 games that are undecided, though one of them has officially gone decided very quickly tonight. But there's 2 games that are still up in the air.
Yeah. So let's start with one game that is clearly decided, and that is UJT absolutely destroying Scarano.
We never start with that one. We ended with that one.
All right, so why don't we start? We'll do it in the middle, and we can end with it.
And JT, you have Josh Reynolds playing. He already has 10 points. So you have a 145. You're looking at possibly top score.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, but I mean,
Michael Thomas might get him.
Yeah, Michael Thomas, I think, has the best chance at it just with what he's got. Although Josh Reynolds just caught another pass, currently putting me in the lead for top score.
Oh, there you go.
So, I don't know what happened. You didn't have that. You did not. It didn't seem like you had that huge bad of a week. I mean,
It didn't, but then towards the end, like a certain guys who've been coming through for me just didn't come through. Nothing for Funchess, and that's been a couple weeks now. Shepard and Ridley, just I'm a little dependent on a couple of teams, and it's just a little bit hard when those teams don't perform.
Yeah, we were texting back and forth yesterday, and we said it kind of turned on 2 guys. Lindsey having a 27 with those 2 touchdowns. That's a much better game than we would have expected out of him. And then Dak didn't play poorly, but only a 15.
We just didn't think that Atlanta's
expected more against Atlanta. Yeah.
Some people would kill for a 15 from their quarterback.
I feel like we'll be getting there shortly.
Yeah, JT, I kind of wonder what your season would look like if you had Fournette all year.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's if you give me that one win where I don't finagle things against Jake, I'm sitting 6-4, possibly 7-4 after this week, and it would be a very different season. I don't think I have a chance at points, but I also think I really would have been just in the mix in both of those. If I'd had him, he's a horse, and I have a chance, like especially with a few of the losses. Casey goes down, Scarano goes down.
Oh, I think you're in the mix, JT. We were discussing that this was kind of a playoff game before the actual playoffs. That this was kind of a winner going.
You and I both were saying that we don't have enough points to make it that way. So in a way, it's the loser goes home because
it doesn't guarantee you an in, though.
No, not at all. But I think it puts you on the outs right now. I think you're in trouble.
Yeah, I'm outside. I'm not. No, this is done. Say goodnight. Bon voyage to my team here. This is it. I'll play every week, guys. I'll play the waiver wire, but I have no expectation. I'm not getting paid for pizza.
More time to plan my menu for a mason jar.
Yeah, and just so we're clear, I'm invited too, right?
Oh,
the whole league. Your own separate bill. Thank you.
The whole league.
You'll be paying your own separate bill.
I'll put this out here right now. Anybody watching gets to be coming on Scarano's bill.
For
your growler of Strohs, my friend.
I'll take it.
All right. So let's go to another matchup. Two teams who put up right now top 3 scores, I believe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and a crazy comeback.
And Joel loses to Brian, 146 to 147.
She has had the most heartbreaking wins and some of the most nail-biting losses. I think I probably flipped that, but she, between the one she lost to me by less than 1, She was up substantially going into the second half last night, and still had Cohen and Miller, and Diggs was doing fine, but nothing major. And I woke up, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Well, and I just want to talk about Brian's team just a little bit here with Aaron Jones. It's going to be interesting to see where Aaron Jones falls in next year's draft.
For Brian too.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like he's a guy who I'm not 100% sure how he acquired him, but as of right now, over these past couple weeks, it's just like looking like a premier back.
Well, I gotta give Brian a lot of credit because
drafted 122nd.
He could have rolled over, and even last week defeating Ange with the mess with Gronkowski, but he's currently missing his top two players with Gronk and Bell. That's
and granted, Bell isn't on the team anymore, but it absolutely is the case. Gronk is out, and Gordon being on a bye, I think, is a big one too.
Yeah, and Duke Johnson has been good.
Okay.
Yeah, 147 is a great score. Right now, he's currently sitting second, and the win doesn't mean much, but it's just nice to show that he doesn't roll over and has a good squad.
And just to clarify for the viewers, this is one of the games that has no guys going tonight.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
But on the other side of that coin, I don't think Joelle is as bummed out by the loss as she would be normally because
she still has the points.
Big score. She'll probably be top 3, top 4. And she was already in the playoffs based on points. And I think she's increasing her lead because she was over Rich and Casey. And she's going to put up like 50 more than them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a win-win.
Yeah, it really doesn't make her lose. It takes Brian potentially out of trophy. Well, it keeps him in the race for not making.
Well, the other matchups are yet to be determined for that, but I think that's a very important win for him to get 2, because depending on what happens with 2 of the other close matchups tonight, he may still have a chance to escape it.
So now let's talk about what if we have 2 teams with a tied score? Do we go points?
Points. I think points is the tiebreaker, just like it would be in the standings.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it has to be.
I mean, all we're doing is just going by the standings. So,
all right, let's go to one of the more disappointing performances of the week, and that would be Casey only putting up a 95 against Michael Thomas, who currently has a 131, but still climbing.
Yeah, on the rise. After a quarter, 28 points already from his 2 guys. That's a massive quarter. He's currently projected to have the top score yet again, and just
definitely. Michael Thomas is going to be a definite team I wouldn't want to have to face in the playoffs.
Agreed.
I think Tamala, any given week you could go off on you and catch you, buddy.
And you know what? I think this might actually take is Michael 2 games? He's 2 games behind Jake. But I mean that's going to be the big thing.
If Jake loses, then it's only 1 though.
What?
Yeah.
If Jake loses, it's only 1 game.
Yeah. I think. I mean, Michael's really got to be trying hard for that bye.
Yeah, I mean, a bye is sweet, but Michael's got just both he and Jake have incredible wide receivers, and we're watching that help to propel them to these huge scores. He's got Brown, Hill, Adams, just great. And then
I think the example of Michael and Jake, I think that they're going to be used next year, and I really do see a different look to our draft next year.
Yeah, I think people have.
This I think is kind of showing us a little lesson here.
Yeah, you don't need the great running backs, and Tamala, even though he has great running backs, they're both pass-catching running backs.
Especially the situation where he has White, who he did get a little bit later. I mean, when you're really looking at it, I wanted to say something that, and I could be mistaken. Is he New England's #1 receiver this year?
Yeah, I think he's supposed to set the running back record for pass catches.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he's New England's #1 receiver this year.
Yeah, between that and Barkley, and then it's not like Connor's any slouch on receiving either.
Yep.
It's all about those catches. That change from a half point to 1 point, I think, was underestimated by some and maybe properly valued by others, and I think they're reaping the benefits.
All right, let's get to the next matchup. And right now I am beating Colin 135 to 179, although I have a feeling Gurley's about to get a touchdown.
Yeah, but I think we can all comfortably say this is over.
Yeah, I mean it is.
It's over.
But
what a weird game for you, Tamala.
Like I do not feel good about my team after this. It literally made me physically ill.
Wait, and it was a 4 o'clock game, making you a little bit less comfortable, right?
4:20.
Well, how many guys you got going on Thanksgiving, buddy?
I have no idea.
He's not ready to talk about it.
You know, I really did, Matt, and I am going to say this, and I understand Philadelphia's secondary is beat up, and I understand the Saints have just one of the most incredibly offensive shows I've ever seen in my life. But I don't know what happened from one year to the other. I can't say I've ever seen a Super Bowl champion roll over like that, man.
Well, no. Okay, so I wouldn't say we've rolled over. Yesterday we rolled over.
Yeah, that's what I mean is yesterday, sir.
But, you know, I mean, you look at the 5 games we had lost prior to yesterday, and I think it was by a combined total of 15 points.
Right.
You know, we gave up that huge lead to the Panthers. We gave up that lead to the Titans. You know, we could have beat the Bucks. We could have beat Dallas. We're not playing well. We can't finish. And no, I don't know what happened yesterday.
Pass protection isn't there. You're not running the ball. I mean, like, buddy, I watched that game and I was just like shocked. I was like, what is
absolutely.
Absolutely. These are Super Bowl champions, man. Like this was what I would always call. I always would argue that last year's Eagles defense was the toughest defense to get 1 yard from in the NFL, almost in history. Like just when it came down to like that 3rd and 1, like they'd always stop you. And it just wasn't happening yesterday, man.
Yeah.
But, you know, I will say, you know, defensive tackles, they've been hurt, and it's been, you know, at one game we only went into the game with 3 defensive tackles.
That's bad, dude.
Well, Tamala, is this going to change your plan going forward? Because I don't know if you have necessarily another plan at quarterback, but you do have other plans for like Jeffrey, and Jeffrey's really kind of been in a slide.
But, you know, out of the 3 yesterday, I mean, Jeffrey wasn't the problem.
No, yeah, I don't think he was the problem.
Look at your squad. You're going to want to put White in. You're going to want to put Chubb in, right? You want both those guys in. Who do you take out?
Yeah, I mean, it will be more matchup dependent.
Because after this bye, suddenly they're all available.
Yeah.
But, I mean, to be honest, Tamala, my question to you is do we actually end up – I mean, you don't have to answer, but are you going to actually end up playing the waiver wire, looking for a quarterback? And I do find this funny that a team that's 10 and – is it 11-0 now? Am I 11-0? 11-0 is going to be playing the waiver wire.
Yeah, I think Wentz is still your play. It was an outlier game. He hasn't had many games that were quite that bad, but it does give you pause.
Yeah, I mean, I just need consistent production, and you know, if he has another game like he did yesterday,
Week 4 through Week 10, he was in the 20s, Tamala. I will say that. You know, I am looking at it here. Week 4 through Week 10, he was in the 20s every single time.
He'll be fine.
Statistically, he's having a better year this year than he was last year, up until yesterday.
Impressive. I didn't realize that. Hey, what's going on in the actual Monday night game? Why haven't they done a play?
It's it was a challenge. Now it's 4th and goal. He's passing it here. Oh, Zerline. Excellent.
Oh, yeah, good. You needed points.
Well, you were worried, buddy. You're worried.
Well, I think that brings us, Tamala, to the 2 matchups that are officially undecided going into tonight. Those 4 were all settled, but the other 2 are not. And they do have high playoff implications.
So right now we have Jake looking to take his another loss. And he is right now he's at 111, and he has Kelsey playing. Going against Rachel, who's at 116, and she has Mahomes and Woods. And like you said, because Mahomes is playing, Kelsey can do very little where
Mahomes isn't also getting those points. I mean, obviously Kelsey will get a little more, but when you throw in the Woods aspect and the fact that Mahomes will also be thrown to others, it is unlikely that Jake's going to be able to pull this one off.
Yeah, and that
not his best week. I mean, he's going to end up with like a 120, maybe. That's not horrible, but he's been scoring more than that. And if you look up and down, not horrible weeks from a lot of guys, but Crabtree
just wasn't his best week in general.
Yeah, Crabtree and Westbrook let him down. But those are two guys I don't think he would be playing next week.
You know, I mean, I think we had a lot of scores jump late because just looking at the projections, a lot of the projections were about 120, 130 before the week, and even through
mine was even almost up to 140 at one point or another.
I don't remember that.
But
I do.
During the 1 o'clock games, a lot of the projections were low. You had a couple at 150, but a lot of them were still 130, and we've had them jump. We've had them jump a little bit.
Talk about this at the Mason jar. I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think there was some big numbers at 4 o'clock. You had some good scores last night.
Yeah, and that Saints game in general, if you had any of those guys, they really were just, especially either of the two backs.
Yeah, I mean, Kamara, Ingram, Breeze, all looking great. Well, I mean, I would have to say that that's leaning heavily towards Rachel, not impossible for Jake. But that is interesting because Rachel, I think she's too far out win-wise, but she's looking for as many points as possible tonight because she's not super far out points-wise. So if
it's fascinating, and this is something where Rachel, where we're looking at your vote, and you kind of got your thing in last year. She was able to get her, the punt kick return thing in last year. Now, what I'm asking is for Rachel at 3-7 to maybe consider what we were talking about with points.
Well, and with all of that in mind, because I'm a huge advocate for it. Her main thing right now is trying to sneak into the playoffs, and she's trying to beat Rich and Casey, both of whom she's got higher scores than right now. So she's gaining in that regard. That's big.
And I think in the more progressive system, that this could have helped her quite a bit. And I do sometimes think that a lot of times, in order for a person to maybe change their vote or to change their mind, it has to actually hurt them.
Yeah. How about the other matchup, Tamala, that is still ongoing, though the chasm is widening a little bit as we speak?
All right, that is Angela currently has a 103 to 98 advantage over Rich. And this, this was one of the games where Angela looked like she was dead in the water all day.
Sure did.
Rich looks really good at the top of his
last night. Didn't really even have much. I don't know how she came back.
And then Mitch didn't do much, but I mean, she gets a 0 from Ben Watson. She gets a half a point from Williams.
I don't understand how she's winning when Rich gets a 35 from his quarterback.
Yeah.
And bottom of that lineup, man.
She has Newton on her bench with a 27, which, I'm not saying Newton would have been the better call, but
Newton would have been a better call. Minnesota
Newton would have been a better call, but I do think that what you're doing is you're putting in a lot of what you know about the two defenses.
But the thing with Newton he's had a good matchup, but last week, he only put up a 16 against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's not a great matchup though. On the road Thursday night.
And he gets. You know what? It's hard to say. I do think that there is a little bit like when you actually start comparing these weeks from Newton to Trubisky.
I think Rich is really in trouble because he doesn't know what to do now with the Dalvin Cook Murray thing. I think it was almost better for him when Cook was out because
I agree.
Was all Murray, and it was a lot easier to determine who to play. And right now he's putting Cook in there, who's just doing nothing.
Yeah. But honestly, I think that was that game against the Bears. The Bears are a tough matchup against anyone.
They are, but Cook has not been good this year, even when he plays.
I want you to think of the investment that he's made in Cook. That's his second round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Who, as of right now, what are we saying? Benched?
I don't know.
Hard to get that's tough call now, isn't it?
His top 3 players, he didn't have anybody else in double digits. That one hurts because Rich needed a win, and if he didn't get a win, he needed points. I think that was possibly a nail in the coffin for Rich's season with only 2 weeks to go.
Yeah, this might be it.
That's a bummer because he started off great and he's got some really good players. Breeze is probably going to be the #1 fantasy QB, if not maybe #2 behind Mahomes. And Gordon's up there as one of the best running backs. And Sanders was a great steal where he got him. Interesting. I think he could have parlayed maybe Matt Ryan into something. I think that he really could have made a move and tried to go with riding Breeze and taken 1 week as a bye. I'm always a fan if you have two great quarterbacks.
You know what a good time to have done it was as soon as your quarterback went out, JT. As soon as Garoppolo went out.
I made an offer to him, honestly, and I ended up canceling it just because of how quickly Rachel responded. So
yeah, I understand that.
Another one for Hill. Gosh, he's got a 19 already. 13 minutes to go in the second quarter.
If only someone had thought that he was going to have a big game.
Who?
Me.
Oh, Hill?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's all right. Not over yet.
So these are the standings, although they're not updated.
Are the points updated currently?
No. Yeah, it doesn't do.
That's still gonna be a little bit tough then.
Yeah, that's hard to decipher. It's almost not helping us all that much. I wish the points were updated at least as of currently.
Okay, but we have 3 teams definitely in the playoffs. Myself, Jake, and Michael.
Oh, 100%.
Yes.
And I would argue that it would be very hard for Joelle to not make it after putting up another 150 and already being in. I mean, I was behind her by 130, and I'm only going to pick up 5 or 6 on her tonight, but she's going to pick up over Rich and Casey big time, and those are her two closest competition.
Yeah, but she's not pick. I mean, she's gonna pick up, but
60 over Casey.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say, you know.
I mean, that's gonna increase your lead.
Alan had a tough. Go back to the screen.
That's I don't know. Obviously not impossible, but it looks good. I would say she's in.
Combine that with a tough week from Colin. I think she's in.
I think she's in the driver's seat for that 5th spot, because currently with the way things are playing out, I mean, she's going to be 5 and 6. Casey's still going to have the 4th spot because of his record, because everybody else who was 5 and 5 lost except for me, and I'll be tied with him record wise, but he'll take it because of points over me.
Okay.
So what
JT, I tell you what, you keep it up, buddy. Keep your foot on the pedal here, and I think you're in there.
I'm as close as I've been all year, but I need to either pass somebody in points, which is not likely because I have to jump over 5 people for that, or I have a much better chance with the win. 2 weeks to go.
Yeah, no. You're going to be in through wins.
But you're putting what? You're putting at least 50 points up on Casey this week?
I'm putting 55 points up on Casey this week.
So you're looking at, you know, I mean, if you can do that 2 more weeks, then you got him on points. Like, you know,
I'm not relying on points. I think that's a pipe dream, but my record is potentially a little more possible.
Just gotta keep the pedal in the metal, JT. I'll tell you this. I think every week's a playoff week for you.
Yeah, I just need to keep going points.
I'll tell you something right now. Like, you can't have one of those weeks where you're like, you know, you basically light a virtual leg right here, and you're going to stay in.
Yeah, that 79 week really hurts me.
You couldn't have another week like that. If you have a week like that, you're out. But I think if you keep winning, let's take a look at next week's, because I am interested in this. Who do you play next week, Jay?
All right.
Oh, I have a very favorable schedule, all things considered, going forward. I play Rachel and Brian as the final 2. Now, Rachel's been putting up good numbers, but in terms of potentially getting wins, that's not been her best. You know, she might have a 4th win. Brian might have a 2nd, but those are 2 of the lower numbers for the league. And in terms of me not playing the top 3, you know, I don't mean to disparage either one of them because they could easily beat me, and they probably will. Yeah. But I'm happy to not be playing Tamala, Jake, Michael, Casey.
Yeah, I have a question about this. I'm just looking at next week's matchup right now, and why do I have to play? Didn't I just play Matt like 2 weeks ago?
I don't make the schedule, my friend.
I blame you.
You're
I'm
already
good.
dead. It doesn't matter.
All right, let's look at the matchups for next week. Let's start.
Let's see if we got any ones that matter versus those that potentially don't. I can't say there's going to be any that don't.
Well, okay, so let's look at Angela and the Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas needs a couple more wins because he's doing anything he can to catch up to Jake. But
he loses Goff and Hill.
Yeah.
And he currently does not have. Oh, he has Baker Mayfield on his bench going up against Cincinnati, which isn't a terrible matchup.
It's not.
It's not a terrible matchup. I'm not sure there's too much that's great out there. That's
really what I'm listen. Angela loses Hunt too, so she loses one of her best players.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. It matters to Michael. That bye week is huge. It's one of the things that even looking at Super Bowls, when you look at the difference between number 1 and number 2, as far as conference championships go, there's very little in the percentage difference between whether the number 1 team goes to number 2. But when you go 2 to 3, it's massive.
All right. So she put Powell on IR. Is he actually on IR or injured multiple weeks?
Yes. I mean, he's already missed 3 and he's on IR. Like, he's been put on IR by the team.
Okay.
Oh, he's on the real IR.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make him? That puts him out for the year,
right? He's out for the year tomorrow. They're talking about it could be a career ending.
Oh, I did not. I must have missed that.
Yeah, they're hoping after neck surgery that he'll resume his career, but they're not sure.
Okay.
Not forever, though.
They're saying 10 to 12 months. So yeah, I think he'll get the 4 weeks.
Yeah. So right now, Mike.
I mean, Angela's looking to stay out of the basement. Let's say Rachel wins, that gets her 4. Brian gets the 2. She's looking better. She's got a 1-game lead over Brian, but Brian beat her. So if Brian can pick up that game at the end, then all of a sudden Angela could be a trophy maker.
What are you guys seeing for Michael's projected points?
105.
Okay.
But he's no quarterback, no wide receiver yet because it's Monday.
I'm seeing.
Mine's still telling me 164.
Yeah, mine's telling me 165.4.
Oh, you mean for this week?
Next week.
Next week.
No, I got it at 104.
You know what? I think it's. Are you looking on the computer or mobile?
Computer.
Mobile.
I think the mobile's telling us the projected for this week.
I think it is too because I'm looking at it next week, and he's got those 2 guys out. So Michael needs it for the bye. Ange needs it for the avoid the trophy. What's up next?
Now let's go. Jake has to beat Brian, and Brian's on a 2-game winning streak.
And Jake loses Kelsey, but neither one of them lose anything else. Jake actually gets back a few people.
Yeah.
In looking at Brian's team right now, especially with Jones, they don't look too shabby, man.
Looking a lot better.
If you were Brian, would you trust MVS?
No.
No, but I would trust Gronkowski going in one of these positions.
I mean, I know it was just a weird week, but at Minnesota, he's been pretty good. He'd had 5 weeks of double digits prior to that, but I think some of these other guys are going to be coming back. Maybe Cobb.
And I do have a concern about any of the games with Aaron Rodgers on the road. I think we have this somewhat romanticized version of how good he is as soon as he plays on the road. I mean, he has a losing road record. I'm fantasy-wise okay, but I just don't think that he's this great quarterback to go into a hostile road game and to take it to the house.
Yeah, Jake is he's a win and gets the bye. That's the way I see this one, I believe, because I think we looked last week and he beat Michael Thomas when he played him. So
Michael Thomas is just hoping for a Brian win big time.
Yeah, I think that's the only. I think Jake's magic number is 1 after this week. He needs a win.
All right.
All right. Let's move on to Casey is taking on Colin.
Both teams are gonna be. Oh no, Casey will still be in because of his record, but
Yeah.
Colin will currently be out of the playoffs, and he loses Gurley.
It's a bad week for Colin.
And he lost
Colin
Matt.
had a rough week this past week. I think that you remember how you were saying that this might be the nail in the coffin for Rich. This week has potential nail in the coffin for Colin.
Well, and he's probably going to lose Kerryon Johnson too.
Yeah.
So that's his top two running backs out the door. That could be bad for him. That might be his season, having lost 2 in a row. He lost to Casey the first time, so he loses the tiebreaker to him.
I mean, it's huge. I mean, you have to remember, we're looking at the projected totals. Casey puts in a new kicker here. He's not missing a whole lot. I don't know. Big Ben, I guess, kind of pulled it out towards the end of that game. Things were looking pretty bad for a while there.
Oh, I tell you what, he's got to be thrilled with the 22 when he had like a -4 for a while.
Oh, things were looking real bad. I didn't know what was going on. And by the way, that hurt my Boswell situation as well, but that's only the start of my problems.
Yeah, well. Yeah, listen, Colin's been dealing with major injuries. Cup, McKinnon, now Johnson. That's three big players.
Yeah.
He's in trouble. His season might be done.
Yeah, I'd say this is about it for him. Could play the spoiler role now.
Yeah, for sure. And in fact, I'm rooting for him to beat Casey harder than anything.
Yes, it would definitely help you.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of JT's team, you are taking on Rachel.
Uh-oh. I remember when this happened. Team Haley Booster Club.
And I'll tell you what, man, I couldn't be happier about the fact that she's got Mahomes on a bye.
Mahomes and Woods.
And Woods. And I mean, I lose Reynolds, but he's kind of my fill-in guy anyway, so.
Yep.
And she has no backup quarterback right now.
Well, it's because he's on my team.
And then, but she will get Kittle back.
Mm-hmm.
And look for Haley to be on the waiver wire. It's just a tough bye week for her in general with the Rams and the Chiefs here, man.
Yeah, I mean, no one ever knows. She beat me the first time, so it's who knows. But I feel very good knowing that her best players, finally catching by, and I happen to be lucky enough to be playing her that week.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Goff just lost the fumble.
Oh, yes, you did. That's good for my potential top score.
So, all right, and then the last matchup of the week.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about this. Oh, why do I have to play it twice?
It's not the last matchup. We didn't do Rich versus Joel.
Oh, never mind.
We didn't do Rich
That's
versus
his fault. Rich versus Joel. This is your fault.
Mahomes with a touchdown. Kareem Hunt. That gives Haley and Angela. That's the Haley Angela combo. That might.
And that's who I picked for my week winner. Burn, JT. Burn. I missed the whole thing.
Oh man. Okay. What about we got Joel versus Rich. Neither one of them greatly affected by buys. Rich has
a little bit on Rich.
Cooks, and I think both of them have good teams.
Yep.
Rich has got to figure out what's up with Dalvin Cook. That's such a key. What do you do? How do you play that?
And I mean, Elliott's been such a beast for Joel the past 2 weeks.
Oh, huge.
Oh, huge.
Turnaround.
It's kind of one of the only ways that Dallas ever wins a game.
Yeah, he was a mediocre player this year, and now the last 2 weeks, both over 30.
Yeah. Do you think that's all because of Cooper?
I think it helps. I think it takes the safety out of the box.
I think it matters.
I think Humphreys.
The offensive line is playing a little better.
I don't love her team, but I tell you what, she keeps putting up points. I don't even know how she does it sometimes, but she's putting up points.
All right. Do you guys
would you consider Rivers playing Arizona at home over Rodgers playing Minnesota at the Vikings? Go.
I can't make good decisions, so.
Okay. Not participating in the hypothetical. Tamala?
Mess it up, man.
I would play Rodgers.
You play Rodgers still.
Yeah.
Okay.
Inter-division opponent, their defense doesn't matter.
This is this. But I think you could argue. I think that you could also argue though that and actually just straight up looking at their statistics, I mean they're right neck and neck here.
Yeah, I still go with Rodgers.
You're going with what has been done in the past and what you think of a player, but when you actually look at their stats, they're right at the same level.
I think Rivers is certainly an interesting talk.
Do you think there is something that Rachel could offer Rich for Matt Ryan?
Have we hit our trade deadline though?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
I believe it's next. The default is next week, but didn't we get rid of our trade deadline?
Very possible. I maybe.
Was that the last drunken vote I took?
I think it would be strange for Rachel to give something up right now when she needs points. I don't think it's as important as a win. So
yeah, but
you're giving up 2 weeks of a player for 1 week of a quarterback.
Yeah, but it is a big week for you. Okay, but who is she going to
give up? McCoy. Would Rich do that for McCoy, knowing that Cook hasn't done anything?
I don't know. It's an interesting move. I kind of hope she doesn't make it.
I mean, I do want you to just take a quick gander at the quarterbacks available. I mean, right now, looking at the list, we're talking a Lamar Jackson, Eli Manning type of situation.
I think both of those guys could easily put up the same numbers as Matt Ryan.
Like,
okay.
What if she did like a Chris Godwin, McCoy for Ryan, or even a Lockett and McCoy for Ryan?
That's a fair trade. I mean, personally, I wouldn't want to give up two guys that I might be starting for 2 weeks.
Now, Rachel, I have an interesting situation for you. Blake Bortles, number 17 quarterback, available on the waiver wire, playing the Bills.
I don't think you want to do that at all.
but here's the question. Will a quarterback she gets on the waiver wire give her more points than Matt Ryan?
I don't think it'll give her more points, but if you lose, let's say she loses 4 points from Matt Ryan to Eli or something like that, I think that the amount of points she loses in the drop-off from the Godwin, McCoy players for 2 weeks is more substantial than that. I think it's, at this point, she only gets in on points. She doesn't care if she beats me at all.
But I think she wants McCoy off her team, and she has plenty of other receivers around.
You think she wants McCoy off her team?
That last part, I disagree with you with
I strongly disagree.
I think she's blinded by him. I think he's cost her more than 1 week.
And I think she would ride him until the season is over. There's no way.
He's the biggest homer of any person I've ever met. I make fun of you, Matt. I make fun of you, buddy. She's a bigger homer than you are.
She has 2 weeks. She has 2 weeks to put up as many points, and then it doesn't matter who's on her bench or not. She's not looking at the long run right now. She has to get as many points as she can. And if she has to give two guys to...
I think we're both making the same argument. I just think we look at it from a different way.
All right.
All right.
For the final matchup.
Yeah, I want to know about this. You do make the schedule, JT.
I legitimately don't. It's all randomized from the minute we get our season.
All right. So, JT, what's the projection on this matchup?
Well, you have no Greg the Leg. You're still projected, even with having one less player, to win by 21.
But that means nothing, because at one point I was projected to win by like 70 yesterday, and
you're going to win by currently 60. So
I was projected at 198 at one point yesterday.
Yeah, well, Colin isn't going to crack.
Your quarterback put up a half a point.
Yeah, man, I think you're fine. Tamala, I will say this. You will be 11-0. There are 2 weeks remaining. The potential fantasy spoiler is sitting right in front of you, and I like the looks of that.
You know, with Scarano, are we betting a lunch?
No. I'm already in the hole right
The man
now.
can't
And I
play
was
another one.
projected to win. I'm sure not going to do it when I'm projected to lose.
Oh, I love it.
No lunch. I'll play the spoiler. I'll even play the waiver wire and put in my regular picks. But I'm not like putting another lunch on this.
Listen, it's the Scarano Cuzzy family that is the only people that have a chance to take you out. It is Scarano, and then you play Rachel to close out the year.
Keeping it in the family.
The matchup is, not affected by buys, like we said. So it's really going to come down to just what happens with a couple of your questionable players as of late. You never expect Wentz and Ertz and Jeffrey to put up 8 points combined again. I think you'll be fine. I think you got some interesting decisions to make with your bench, though.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, I'm glad that I I have worse players so that I don't have as many decisions to make.
And I mean, I think for sure White has to go in. I mean, there's a couple that I'm looking at.
I think Trump has to go in for sure, too. How do you sit him?
All right, Scarano, who should I take out, buddy, to put White in?
Jeffrey.
Ooh, and then who do you take out for Chubb?
Moore?
Barkley.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's really tough to sit Moore after that 29. I think it's easier to sit Jeffrey, but that's tough because you're an Eagles homer.
Yeah, but that was with the Moore, that was that one big touchdown late. Like he's not as involved as some of the other players.
Okay. I don't know. I think it's more than just the one.
I'll tell you this, he has some good draft potential for next year.
157, man. I don't know. How about this Thursday? We have 3 matchups. I think all 3 matchups are not good. And I think that it is fascinating to have it be such an important playoff week and have all these games on Thursday. I think it must make Tamala sweat.
And you know what, Scarano? I will have no players playing on Thursday. So I'm fine.
You don't have any, Tamala?
No, if I play Ito Smith, which right now
there's no way you can't even.
No, you won't play him. Tamala designed his draft so this wouldn't happen. He saw the Thursday Thanksgiving game coming a mile away and drafted around it.
Did it on draft day. Made all his decisions based on it. All I'm going to have is a kicker. That's a boring day. As much as I hate having guys early sometimes, I really like having a guy to watch when I'm eating and enjoying.
Yeah, and I was about to say, it's on Thanksgiving, and there's only one game on at a time, so it is one of the games that, it'll be on my screen all day.
Yeah.
But who's the first? Is Detroit the first?
Hold on, I just had it up. The schedule goes like this. The first one is Bears at Lions.
Yeah. Then Dallas.
And I would argue potentially with Kerryon Johnson going down, there might not be a single guy started other than Galladay for the Lions.
Okay.
Who's their kicker?
That's pretty rough.
Prater.
Is he still?
I know he is.
Okay.
Yeah, he is. But I mean,
I need a kicker.
They didn't have much. And then the second game is Redskins Cowboys.
Yeah.
And with Alex Smith going out, you got AP and then a couple Cowboys, but yuck.
Colt McCoy might be a good DraftKings play, though.
Yeah, we'll have to do that early. DraftKings is coming down to the wire here. Falcons Saints is the late game,
which is huge.
Huge game.
That's a lot of players. That's a lot of Scarano. That's a lot of Casey, Jake, Rich.
Jake's in there, man.
All right.
All right. Well,
so watching the Rams and the Chiefs here, the strategy I used a little while ago is I tried to get as many Patriots and Packers as I could. It didn't work out great for me. But looking at these two teams, I wish I had more action on the Chiefs and the Rams. Are there any teams you guys wish you had more action on this year?
Saints.
They're one of the ones, especially after that first game, I just thought It looks like this might be another Bly year for him. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I was kind of, Meredith. I was really hoping that would be my ticket into the Saints, and that did not work out well for me this year.
Yeah. I'm surprised that didn't, because I thought he was pretty good in Chicago, and I just can't believe he didn't turn into anything.
I don't think he was fully healthy. I think he needed a whole nother year, and I think they realized that before the public did.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. So, well, since our talk, when this conversation started, both matchups between Angela and Rich and Jake and Rachel were within 1 point of each other, and currently Angela is up by 14. I think Rich is sunk, and Rachel is also up by 14. I think Jake is sunk.
Interesting.
The top points is going to go to Michael. He's down to me by a little bit, but his firepower is just so massive with what's left. He's got a whole nother half. But I think I will be the second highest score, so I'll take it.
All right, Jake.
How many of those have you had, JT? Second highest?
I don't know. I do know that now, other than my one crazy bye week, I will have a top 3 score in 4 of the last 5 weeks.
Look at that, Jay.
Yep, it's it's not a surprise that it tends to coincide with Fournette's return.
No, that's what it is, man. You can't have your first round pick go out.
Yep, I mean Brian saw it without a doubt, and you saw it last year, and many others have seen it with major injuries too. Sometimes you can battle through it if you get lucky, but I didn't get anybody great, and that's all my own fault for not.
So, and I almost think that that's something to think about anytime you find yourself at that draft day and you have one of those ladder picks. I want you to remember that, it actually, a situation like Brian, or a situation like you had, that it could actually be beneficial.
Well, you picked up Lindsay on the waiver wire after week 1, right?
I think I took him and Freeman to start the year. I think I had them both, but you might be right. That if anything, he's been my best one, but this is his best game by far.
Yes.
He has not put up above a 20 any other week. So,
of course, it's the week that a lunch is on it.
Oh, well, yeah, that's what I told him.
This is the mason jar, man. It's going to be nice.
They have growlers. It's gross.
Yes, you added him on September 12th from waivers.
Okay, so you're right. It was.
Yeah, look at that, man.
Yeah, but if you look at his numbers, he was not quite a.
Never right up with that, man.
No, but 18th ranked. I mean, that's good for waivers.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm pleased with it, but I mean, it's not going to make up for Fournette.
Go James Conner.
Who is?
He had a terrible game as well.
Yes, he did, but so did all of Pittsburgh, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, fellas.
When will we reconvene next week?
Wednesday.
Regular?
Yeah.
And by the time we get together next week, we will have 1 week left, and I think there will be a little more clarity in the playoff picture, but we have quite a muddled mess in the middle.
No hot take tonight, Scarano?
There's no hot take tonight. Just wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
And we have no rankings, by the way. That's another thing to point out. We will return with that next week.
Hard to do without having the wins and everything like that, man.
Yeah, we can probably do it literally right now, but a little late.
Yeah.
All right, so happy Thanksgiving.
All right, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving. This is the Fantasy Trail.